So now we are on our second video in our series about guitar synthesizers, okay? So in this video, we're going to continue talking about the GM800. We're going to plug it in the computer and get the drivers working and download the software. We're going to register all of our hardware with Boss, so the two boxes, the pickup, and the guitar synth. We're going to register all of that with Boss. And then we're going to pick out a guitar to install the GK5 pickup on. And then once we get the pickup installed, then we're going to do a comparison with tracking between the GK5 and the GK3. We'll see which one tracks better. Okay, so stick with me and we're going to dive into it right now. Okay, when you first get your GM800, you're going to want to plug it into the computer, download all the software, and you want to use it with Tone Studio, and you want to use it with the Roland Cloud. But the problem is nothing's going to work, and it's going to drive you absolutely crazy. After a little bit of digging, what you're going to discover is that Tone Studio requires the firmware version 1.03, and this shipped to me with firmware version 1.02. So in order to get anything working, you're going to have to update the firmware. Now the other problem is that there is no power button on this thing. So updating the firmware requires turning the unit on and turning the unit off. And the only way you can do that is with the power supply, plugging it in, plugging it out, and you have to press other buttons up here. But not to worry, I'm going to walk you through what to do, and I'm going to show you, we're going to make it real simple, and just follow these steps, and you'll be okay. Let's get with it. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is you want to have a power strip with a switch on and off. That way you just plug the Boss into here, and instead of unplugging and plugging this in every time, just use the switch. That's going to make life a lot easier. So we'll just start by plugging this in, and we're going to plug this in right here. And then we're going to turn it on, and it should come right up, and there it goes. So now right now it's booting up. Okay, the next thing you're going to need is a thumb drive of some sort. And so this thumb drive right here we're going to insert, but we can't insert with the power on. So we're going to go ahead and turn this off, bring this up, take the thumb drive, and insert it in. Okay, so there's step 2. Now we're going to turn it on, and it's going to boot up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in so you can see what we're doing here with the screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit menu, and then we're going to hit the page over button. I'm going to go to hardware. Is it hardware setting this page over one more? Let's see it. Okay, page over one more. We have factory reset and USB memory. Go ahead and click on USB memory, backup, restore, import tone, and expansion. So you can get more tones online and stick them on the USB drive, and you can access those tones that way. But we're going to page over one more and go to format. We need to format the USB drive, so we're going to do that right now. And we're going to hit OK. So now it's formatting the USB drive. Okay, so now it's complete. So we'll say OK, it's complete. And we're just going to hit exit to get out of that. Okay. And we'll hit exit again. And now we're going to turn the unit off, and we should be good to go. Now to check to see what firmware version you have, you're going to have to hold down the exit button, and then you're going to have to turn the power on, and then the firmware version should come right up. Hold down the exit, turn on the power button, keep your finger on there. And as you see, I have 1.03 because I've already updated my firmware, okay? If you do this and you have 1.02 or 1.01, you need to update your firmware. Otherwise, this is not going to work with your computer. So update the firmware, and we're going to get the firmware online. All right, now it's time to go get the software for our Boss GM800. And we're going to start by opening up our browser, and our browser is going to open up, and we're going to type Boss US. And when that loads, just going to click on the website and it's going to open up. So the first thing you're going to want to do is register any new gear that you get. And you're going to do that over here. So when you click on this, on account, you're going to go to either log in, and if you don't have an account, then you're going to click sign up. So if you have previous Boss gear, you might already have an account, but sign up and register your GM800 if you don't have an account. I've already done this, so I'm not going to have to worry about that, but we're going to go over here to support. When we click on support, we're going to go over here to where it says product search, and we're going to just do GM800. And here's everything for the GM800. So here is our firmware version 1.03. So what we're going to do is right click and open up a new tab. And we're going to go down here and agree and download file and hit save. Now we're going to go over here to the support page again. This is the Tone Studio for Windows. This is Tone Studio for Mac. We're going to right click on the Windows version. Then we're going to go open a new tab. And then we're going to go down and hit agree and then download. And then we're going to go save. Then we're going to go over here and get this. And now we need the drivers. So we're going to go ahead and get the Windows drivers. So we're going to right click and we're going to open up link in new tab. This is going to come up. We're going to go down. We're going to agree. Then we're going to go download. And there it is. Okay. So now we're going to go back. And down here are manuals, owner's manuals in PDF. So here is the quick start guide. So we're just going to go over here, open link in new tab, and here it is. Okay, we're going to agree to that. Go to download, and we're going to go over here to our little download button, and then we're going to click on save. And then we're going to go over here and get the reference manual. Right click, open a new tab. Same thing, same drill, and we're going to go, we'll just get it just to have it, I guess, and save. So let's see where we are on our downloads. So we have downloaded all of our, looks like we've downloaded a show, all downloads, there we go. So we've downloaded all of our PDFs, and here's our software there. Okay, good. So now what we're going to do is close this out. Now we're going to go over here and open up our folder, our file explorer here, and we're going to go to download. And here is our Tone Studio. So we're going to go ahead and open that up, extract all, and there we go. So everything is now extracted. We have the 103, that's our firmware. Here's Tone Studio, and here's our drivers. So we're going to go into download, and we're going to start with our firmware update, which is right here. And we're going to open this up, and here's our firmware. What we're going to do is we're going to copy this. Now this is the thumb drive that I formatted earlier. I'm just going to highlight that. You want to be on the top one. You don't want to be down here in these subfolders down here. You want to be on the top. If you're not on the top, then this is not going to work. And you're going to right click and you're going to hit paste, and we've just copied the firmware onto our thumb drive. So now it's a matter of just coming down here and turning off the thumb drive actually and removing it. Now we can use the thumb drive to update the firmware.
Okay, once we've downloaded the firmware, we extracted the file and we stuck it on the USB drive. Now we're going to stick the USB drive in the Boss GM800, and then you're going to hold down the right button and you're going to turn the power on. Now I'm not going to do that because I've already updated the firmware, but you hold down the right button, you turn the power on, and you wait. And it's going to come up. Then once you see it start to update the firmware, you leave it alone. You don't want to turn it off while the firmware is updating. It's going to let you know when the update is done, and it will say successful update. And from that point, you can turn it off and you can boot it up with the new firmware, and then you'll be good to go. Okay, so once we have our firmware update completed, we're gonna probably have to reset our pickup. Now we're using the GK3 pickup, and we're using the GK5 adapter. So the 13-pin cable is plugged into here, then the output goes into the GM800 right here. So we're gonna turn this on, and it's going to boot up right now. We see our lights are going right now. Now I showed you how to do this in the last video, but you're probably going to have to reset it once you do your firmware update. So I'm going to show you how to do it in this video real quick. So what we're going to do is zoom in, and hopefully you're going to be able to see this. You can probably see it better in the first video if this doesn't come out too well. Hopefully it'll come out pretty good. Now we're zoomed up. Now to set up our pickup is real simple. We're just going to go to the menu. Then in the menu, we're going to go to GK settings. Once we're in that, you see this little graph thing that comes up. Okay, so this little knob here goes through all the settings. Right now we're on 01 GK set 1. So this is our first pickup, and you just put different profiles of different pickups. So if you have a collection of GK pickups, and you can just have different kinds of profiles of different guitars. We're just doing the Strat right now, so we're going to leave it there. We're going to use this and go down to type. Right now we're on GK5. We're going to change this to GK3. And if we go down one more, you can see there's a gain function, so we can turn it up and we can turn it down according to the gain function. The next thing we're going to need to do is go over to the next page. And here is our sensitivity. So let's go ahead and hit the E string, low E. So there's our low E right there, and we're just going to take this knob, go down, and we're just going to adjust the sensitivity, and it gets to where we want it to be. Then we can turn it up a little bit, 71, and we're going to go through each one of these and adjust the sensitivity so the tracking will be spot on. So you're going to have to go through here and set this up accordingly. Okay, so now it's time to install the GK5 divided pickup on our guitar. And the guitar I chose is the Strid Vai guitar. Now I got this from Sweetwater as well. And I put new pickups in a while back. I put Seymour Duncan pickups in and took the stock pickups out. There's 3 different versions of this guitar. There's a $500 version. There's a $1,700 version and like a $3,500 version. I bought the $500 version. So you can go to Sweetwater and get these guitars. They're actually pretty nice guitars. Strid Vai did a good job designing this thing. I love this guitar. So we're going to go ahead and open it up and take the pickup out of the box. And we have our instructions there. So I just put everything back in the box from earlier. When in the first video I did an unboxing, I just stuck everything back in here. So we're just going to pull everything out right now. The first thing we're going to do is remove the Tremolo Bar, because this thing's going to get in our way. So we're going to go ahead and remove that. Now eventually what I plan on doing is installing a new set of strings. This string right here is a 9, and we're going to go up to 10 through 48. Now I've discovered through trial and error that the thickness of the string actually contributes to the way the thing tracks. So if I'm using 8s and I'm using 9s on this, it doesn't track as well as if I use 10 through 48. It's kind of an interesting tip. I don't know if that still applies to the new pickup or not, but when I use 10s on these, it tracks a lot better. And the same thing goes to my line 6. That's also a divided pickup on the line 6, and it takes 10s through 48s, and it sounds better. The guitar models sound better when I use a thicker gauge string. Now, but we're not going to do that right now. We'll do that later. Now we're going to install the pickup, and the first thing we have to do is mount the pickup to this tailpiece. And you're going to see back here there are 2 screws, and it sits on this thing. Got to get this the right way now. So my guess, don't need that. There's all of our pieces. I don't see the screws anywhere. So shows them here, but they're not in the package. Let's see what's going on. Okay, I'm looking all over for these screws and I can't find them anywhere, but really, you know, as I'm looking through this, actually the screws are hidden right here. So here's, I bet you these are our mounting screws. So the whole time they were stuffed in here. So don't throw the box away until you inspect everything, I guess. That's the lesson. Let's go ahead and open this up. And I need some kind of sharp, they like to tape this stuff to where it's next to impossible to open it up. Yep, there's our screws. All right, we're in business. So let's go ahead and get these things out. And inspect all of this stuff. So what we're looking for are the screws that are going to mount this thing to the plate. So everything that's in the bag here is a plate. So if we can find a screw that goes inside of here, then we know we have the right one. What's this? So this one's threaded. It's machine thread and that's machine thread. So let's give this a shot. See if this one will fit. And it fits. Good. So we need 2 of these. We have those. Chances are we're going to need 2 washers. We have those as well. Okay, so I'm going to take this mounting bracket. Okay, so now I have this on the right way. This is going to sit down inside of there. Okay, so what we need to do next is to take this thing off right here. Let's go ahead and remove our tailpiece. So this is where we stand. We have double-sided tape right here. And this is going to go on the back side of the pickup, and we're going to place it right down here. So where each divided pickup is. So here's a pickup for this string, pickup for this string, pickup this. If we center this right where these screws are, we'll be in a perfect alignment for the strings. This is how you would attach it if you're doing like a floating tremolo design, okay? So you want these, each pickup on this divided pickup, you want it centered right where the screw is, okay? So if you have a guitar and this sits down further and it's not high enough and you need this to come up a little bit, instead of using screws, we're going to try to avoid using screws. We have these spacers here, and there's different spacers. And what you do is you peel this off and you put the spacer down, depending on what you need. And then the divided pickup will sit on top of the spacer. But in this particular case, we don't need any of the spacers. And once we get everything back together, this will be the perfect height. We kind of lucked out in that area. So all we have to do is put the double-sided tape on here and reattach the strings, and we should be good to go. Okay, at this stage of the game, our pickup is installed. We have our GK5 right here, lines up perfectly with the strings. We have 1 millimeter of height between the pickup and the string. And we have our pickup mounted to this contraption here. The only problem that I could see is this cable right here. That's going to be annoying. I can maybe tape it down. I could use double-sided tape, but the problem with double-sided tape is that it's sticky on both sides and it's not going to hold. I could use Scotch tape, and that's not going to do it very well either. So what I'm going to do probably, I don't want to glue it down, so I'm probably going to get like a piece of packing tape, and I'll just put one piece of packing tape, probably in this corner, just right in this area, and that should keep that cable from moving. Okay, now we have our packing tape placed on our cable here. so it's not going to get in my way. What I like about this is that I can easily remove this pickup. I just got double-sided tape here. There are no holes drilled in the guitar here. This part is taped down, and this is held in place by this pin right here, and it's clamped together. So it easily comes on, easily comes off, and it won't provide any damage to the guitar, which is what I like. I can easily take it off if I decide I don't want it or like it. But right now, we got it on, and we're going to go ahead and plug it in a little bit, and we're going to test it out to see what the tracking is like.
So let's go ahead and open this up. We're going to go to downloads again, and here's the drivers. And let's go look in the driver folder, and we're going to set up the drivers. And that was pretty quick, right? Already installed. Close. Now the next thing we're going to do is go to the Tone Studio, and we're going to go ahead and install. Very good. Finish. So now we should have Tone Studio. We don't have it on here, but I bet you if we go over here and we see Boss Tone Studio. Oh, it started. Okay. We didn't want to start it. We'll go over here, go to where it says Tone Studio, and we're just going to drag it out here. And we'll put it down here. All right, so here we are with the GK5 installed and hooked up. I got Tone Studio here in the background running, okay. Everything is working, everything is fine. This patch I have right now is fretless bass. So let's check out fretless bass. Let's see what the tracking is like. Let me play a little something and we'll see what it does. So here's fretless bass. Not bad. It does okay on fretless bass. Let's try another one. Let's try the piano. I did that one in the last one. So usually pianos are great at testing tracking because keyboards are the hardest thing to emulate on guitar. So we've got our piano here. So here's a piano. See how long that note went? That note went further, even though nothing was vibrating on the guitar. That was at least 3 or 4 seconds. There's a lot of patches that sort of do that. Here, let me show you one. And this particular one has a tendency of doing that. It's called orchestral melody. So all I'm going to do here is I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to strum some chords, and you can see for yourself. So watch. And there's one. There it goes again. Does that go? Nothing was vibrating on the guitar, and yet that note kept going. This obviously needs a firmware update. That kind of stuff needs to be fixed. If there's no vibration in the string, then the note needs to stop. The other guitar synths don't do that. It didn't do that with the GK3 plugged in. This is a little bit more sensitive than the GK3. So some patches I can play faster, or you can, I don't miss notes, but in other patches, I don't know. There's lots of ghost notes and that kind of thing. Not much difference between this and the GK3 actually. So if you're looking to upgrade but not spend as much money, I would just go ahead and get the guitar synth if you want it, and then just buy that gray box that you plug the GK3 in. I don't see much difference between the two pickups really, and it's like the GK2A that was released, and then the GR55 came out, and they came out with the GK3. I use a GK2A because it's built into my Ibanez over there, my black one, and it plugs right into there, and there's no difference in tracking. I think a lot of the tracking is done by the unit itself more than it is the pickup. The pickup's job is to take the notes and send it to it, and that basically does the job of tracking. Now, if you use the GK3 pickup with a new guitar synth, the patch buttons work. You can change patches with those buttons. Also, the volume knob works. And then, of course, you're not going to need the guitar out, but because that has no guitar stuff built into it. So, but the patch buttons work, and the volume knob works. I don't know why they didn't put that on the GK5. So if I had to do this over again, I would definitely forget about the GK5 and just use my GK3 and just get that gray box. Save a lot of money that way. And the other thing I'm hoping for here is some firmware updates. Obviously, this is brand new, you know, and the Boss GT1000, you know, over there, one of my favorite pedal boards. It had lots of updates. It's on firmware update 3.20. This one only has like 1.03 as a firmware update. So they got a lot of things to come in here and fix. And the software, the Boss Tone Studio for this is sort of buggy too. It doesn't have the features that some of the other Tone Studio software has. So there's a lot of fixing that needs to go on. I'm really excited about the GM800 to be honest, but I wanted to give an honest look at it and an honest review of it, because there's a lot of videos out there that just show you, okay, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but they don't focus on any kind of issues that you might run into. So I wanted to do a video where you would see that kind of thing. But that's it for this video. So in the next video, we're going to cover the GR55. I have it right over there on the floor. And we're going to cover some features that I like about it. And I'm going to show you all the things that really get overlooked, some of the really cool features about it. And then I have about, I don't know, 100 or so patches I'm going to share with you. Probably more than that, probably a couple hundred. I have to look in my file and see all the different patches I've made for this thing. And you'll be able to download those. I'll put them on my Google Drive so you can get them. And that's all going to be in the next video. But for now, I want to thank you for liking and subscribing and watching this video. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the GM800. Thank you.